for new site. So here's my new site. Oh, no, that's not my Gmail. In my new site, I essentially deleted all my API requests except all my article API requests except for the search one where I can do like, because that really doesn't matter on component did mount. It's just an active search that automatically updates the React state or the class's state articles in real time. But when I first refresh and goes here, I want all of the articles. And since we're in a class component, we can use lifecycle methods, these built-in methods. So what's the first thing, what's the first lifecycle method when the page renders? When the page renders, what's the first lifecycle method that fires?
Component did mount.
Component did mount, if it exists. So when I first comes in here, in my component did mount lifecycle method, I want to make an API request to the articles, add article, fetch articles API, and grab it. So I can do, I can do async awake, I can do fetch, just .then. API dot fetch articles. So I just want to grab all articles, so I'm not putting anything in here. Then I can do .then. What's next? I get a response. Let's just console log that response. Console log response. What am I? .then. Oh, right there. Let's open up the console. Oh, what are you doing? So here's my array of 46 in my component did mount. And in here, what do I want to do in here? So I've got my array of 46 articles. And down here, I want to pass in the article's state as an articles prop in the articles list. And then articles list renders, you know, the teaser article. So what do I need to do here? Say that again, sorry?
You want to set the state?
Correct. And in class components, how do I change the state?
This dot set state.
This dot set state. Object articles. I want to set that to the response, which is an array. So essentially, this is articles. I just want to make it clear what I'm actually getting returned. There's all my articles. No. Oh. Now, do I need a component did update in this one? Am I updating the component? Am I updating the home page component?
When you add an article, right?
When I add an article, but I log in tom@email.com. So when I add an article, it goes to another component, and then it just reroutes me to, so new article, code Platoon, byline, week, what are we in, week 9? End of week 9. So I'm not actually, when I submit it and it routes me back to the home page, I'm not updating the component. I'm actually re-rendering the component from scratch. So, and then when I say check it out, it takes me here, code Platoon. So it re-renders So when it re-renders for the first time, it comes back into here, it makes that API request, and grabs all the articles, including the new article I just submitted. But I'm not actually doing any updating in this component, in the homepage component. But even like, so I'm searching, what component am I actually updating?
Articles? No, or I don't know.
So I'm actually updating,
Search.
is it the article? No. So the article, wait, homepage comes down here, article list, component, oh, dang it. Article list just automatically re-renders. So I'm not actually, so it just automatically like re-renders every time I update the article list. Then it comes into here, article comes into here, article teaser. I'm not actually doing any initial API request or re-render or like the components aren't actually updating. They're just actually re-rendering every single time from a parent component. Based off of what props are being passed down from my parent component, these are automatically re-rendering like from scratch. They're not updating or anything like that. So homepage, we're just, on our initial render, we want to make this API request. We're not doing any updating in this component. Now, if we had like the add article form in the homepage component, then we might want to do some like updating. Maybe we'll get there. Like, I don't know. We'll see if we want to redo this whole thing just to kind of show that. But another one might be better, like section page. So for article page, when I click on an article, so I want to see code platoon, click on it, oh crap, like I'm not making any API recalls in our individual article page. So in here, again, class component. So format, in here, we'll need a component did mount. Doesn't accept any parameters. Now, when I go to home, when I go to an individual article, I need to grab the article's ID. So pretty much console, how do I grab the article ID? Console log props, this dot props. I want to see if this works. So match params article ID. Okay. So this dot props dot match dot params. Is it params? Not console log, params. Article ID, cool. Article ID. So I can set that to let article ID equals this dot match dot params article ID. Now in here, I want to actually make my API request to an individual article. So I don't know what that was. Fetch by ID. So I can do the same thing. Fetch article by ID. Pass in the article ID. Dot then article. I'm going to console log this just to make sure an article comes back. Oh no. Oh, okay, here's my article. Grabs it by the ID. Article byline. Great. ID. Now in here, very similar to fetch all the articles, I have to call this dot set state article equals article. If I refresh it, it should grab my article. Now, am I doing any updating? Am I doing component manipulation in here where I'm changing state, or if I want to change something on this component, is anything changing? Am I doing any updating on this component?
I mean, if you were to go to a different article, wouldn't that be a state change? Or
So I'm going to a different, let's go to 5. It completely re-renders from scratch. It's not updating. So like the individual, it does a complete refresh. So it just goes back into the component did mount. But if I were to like select a button, no, because that would actually re-render something. But we'll get to that. So we got article page, home page done, teaser, doesn't need anything. Now let's look at the section page. Section kind of works. But the section I've got as a functional component. So, and I'm using the use effect. So let's convert this to a class component and use component did mount, and let's see if we need to do anything. So how do I convert this to a class component? I need to make this a class. Oh. Extends component. I need to import component. Cool. And class. I can get rid of this hook because that's a hook. I can get rid of all this. I'll actually leave this commented out because we're not going to use it because use effect is for a functional component only. Then render and move that up here. Format document. Cool. Section is not defined in articles. Cool. All right. Let's see. Articles. So we're getting a bunch of errors. So let's just delete that. Articles, no articles are being passed in. So let's declare some state. State equals, we can do articles, which is an array. And then let's do section, which is null right now. So I'm still getting this error because why? Well, so I'm using a class component. So in order to refer to articles and section, I need to use this. This articles, this section. Cannot read property map of undefined. That's coming from the article list. That's fine because we don't have any articles to map over. So let's do component did mount. Did mount. And I want to grab the opinion from there. So I can do a let section equals this dot props dot match dot params something, I don't even know. I'm actually going to comment this out just so we don't get that error anymore because I want to see. Cool. Oh. Sections page. Oh, I'm not console logging anything. Console section, section ID business. So I can grab that section ID. Section ID. So I can do, grab that article. the articles API, grab the one by section. So articles API dot fetch articles by section, pass in the article, I'm sorry, the section ID, do dot then, articles maybe, kind of very similar to grabbing all the articles. I'm going to console log the articles first. Articles. What is it saying that? Section ID, section ID. Cool. So I'm getting articles, but now see how I'm coming here? Okay, because I'm not actually doing anything. Like nothing's actually changing, and I'm not getting any articles. So let's set these articles to state. This dot set state articles, articles. And then let's also just continue console logging articles. So national. And so now, let's log articles. So let's actually delete this use effect because we're not using it anymore. I want a console log state, console log. This dot state dot articles. So articles 13. So notice how state isn't actually changing. It's always the same one, despite me going to opinion. This is where we might want to use component did update.
Oh, okay.
So component did update. What does it take in? It takes in a couple of parameters, doesn't it? Let's check it out. Component did update React. Component did update. So component lifecycle for initial mounting, updating, component did update. Go to that one. So it takes in this, previous props. So, oh mom, go away. I just declined my mom. All right, component did update, take some previous props, previous state. So let's just console log. Console log previous. Do we need any previous props? Are we using props anywhere in here?
No.
So we're using props that match that params. So let's just console log props, previous date. We don't really need a snapshot. Let's just see if this actually fires. So component did update once already because initial state was articles were empty. Component did came here, mounted, and then it updated. So here's our previous props. Section ID is opinion, and our previous state was 0 or an empty array. But now if I go to, but now it's like up here, and now it has 5. Now if I go to business, state is still the same as originally. Oh, come on. But now look at the previous state. Previous state was this. Right here. So what can we do now?
This redo your state check then?
Yep. Well, we can actually do a couple of things. We can check Opinion. We can check whether or not the params have changed. So component did update. We can use previous props. What was it? Match params section ID. Match params section ID. So in addition to setting the section ID, we can also just actually set the section. So down here, that's. Can we just do another that then? And then we can also section ID. So previous props match.params.section ID. Then we're going to do this props match section params section ID. So we might not even need state. So initially national. So now look how it changes. Like so, get rid of that console log. Article 0. So we're at world. World hasn't changed. Now if I go to like business, the previous section is world, and now the new section is business. So in here we can do some logic. So if we even just do this dot state, because we set the state to section ID, right? So if this dot state section does not equal this dot props, so the new section ID, I'm going to console log. Oh god dang it. Console log component should update. So business articles, bam, component should update. Component should update. But if I continue, why is it still going? Why is it doing that? So if national this dot state does not equal.
Don't you have to like change the state again? Because then if it does not equal, it'll keep not equaling every time it updates, right?
Oh, yeah, that's why. Yep, so I have to update the chain. So at that point, what can I do? I can do another fetch API request. Do that, and then can pass in the new, do like, hold on, rename, format document, let section, yikes, section ID was that, pretty much doing the same thing. Cool. Now will this work? So it looks like we're updating. So, cool. So I'm gonna stop console logging some stuff. What is on that one? Okay, I'm console logging these articles. So I don't even need this stuff. previous state to new state. So let's uncomment this out and see if this works. No. Let's go back. Business. Oh no. Where is it at? This dot state. Ah, geez. State. There we go. National page, business page, opinion page. And actually this dot state dot section, opinion page, world page, national page, business page. So in here in the component did update, when I clicked on one of these buttons, something changed. So when I clicked on that button, came down here in the component did update, this dot state dot section up here does not equal this dot props dot. So if this dot, the current section does not match the new section that I want to go to in the link, then I do another API request to grab it by the new section, and then I just set state again. Any questions?
So before we made a component did update, how come before when you were clicking through the links, why wasn't it changing exactly when you were originally clicking through the link URLs and nothing was happening? It was like saying the same state.
Because so why wasn't it updating? So at what point?
Oh, never mind. I think I just answered my own question in my head.
So yeah, I was kind of confused. Are you sure?
Yeah, because component did mount only runs once, right? So when you set the state, you're only setting it once.
Yeah.
But you're clicking the links, right? But since it's the page and doesn't really change anything, the state still stays the same, essentially. So that's why everything would stay the same before we updated the state.
Correct. So yeah, if I didn't do like the set state here, so I'm getting more articles, but it's not changing it because I'm not changing the state.
Oh, okay.
And it's coming in here, it's just doing a logic check in the component did update to if this current section state, if the current state's section does not equal the new params ID, then run this new API.
Okay.
And once I actually update this API, it re-renders and it passes those articles into the articles list, and then the new one changes, or the new component re-renders.
Okay.
The article list component re-renders. The section page doesn't really actually like re-render, it just updates the state. And then the other components update. What other questions? Anybody want to see something? Nothing? All right. Stop.